This is the first game I really don't like. Hey, what's up, CLO Pixel Gamers? There are a lot of games that I love to enjoy. In the next couple of months, I'll be doing a lot of full playthroughs and lives of certain games. But also, there are things that I absolutely detest and hate about certain games. Okay, so my first category of games I absolutely hate are games that masquerade as other games. I'm going to use two games to talk about this category. So the first one is Resident Evil Raccoon City, and then the second one will be Super Mario Bros. 2. What I mean by that are games that say that they're one thing but actually present themselves as another. For example, when I played the Nintendo when I was younger, I absolutely loved the Mario games. Mario 1 and Mario 3 were absolute gems to play. On the other hand, Mario 2 was actually a totally completely different game, and it absolutely felt like it. In the Mario 1 and 3 games, when you jump on an enemy, it actually deletes the enemy, it kills the enemy. But if you jump on an enemy in Mario 2, you actually just stand and sit as the enemy walks. Now, other mechanics such as when you choose a different player, they have different abilities, which was actually good. But as far as the jumping, the running, it didn't feel native to a true Mario game. This is a game that absolutely masquerades as a Resident Evil game. Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Now, I've seen online where people have had mixed reviews about this game. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm in the category of it was a mediocre game, and to me, it doesn't have the essence of a true Resident Evil game. First of all, they I guess give the premise where you're actually working for Umbrella Corp as an independent mercenary corporation. And at the end, you come to find out that Umbrella is actually the bad guys in the game. The only problem with this is the essence of the Resident Evil games are suspense and horror, or survival horror. Whereas you have limited ammo, you don't know where the enemies are coming from, they're very hard to kill, and it gives you that essence of really trying to survive because your supplies are limited. Also, the angles and the darkness of the game. In this particular game, it felt more like an FPS. I didn't feel like I was going to run out of ammo, and it didn't feel like a true Resident Evil game. Also, the ending of the game was pretty weak. How they ended it kind of fell off a cliff, whereas the other Resident Evil games had these climactic endings, and it was very exciting throughout the game. I mean, I'll be honest, Resident Evil Revelation, Resident Evil Revelations 2, and Resident Evil 6 all felt like true Resident Evil games, whereas this thing right here didn't feel like, to me, a Resident Evil game at all whatsoever. I really can't stand when games actually put a storyline or a plot from a completely different game and try to make it fit a genre of game that isn't even related to the main series. Although I enjoyed Super Mario 2 as a game and Resident Evil Raccoon City as a game, I feel like that they should have been their own standalone games, and they shouldn't have put Resident Evil name or the Mario series name on those games. It should have been left either Doki Doki Panic or whatever first-person shooter Raccoon City was originally supposed to be. The main issue I have with this is, what if this was the first Resident Evil game somebody ever picked up? If you like first-person shooters, then you probably would love this game. Action first-person, right? But if you like survival horror genre, or if you like more suspense and storyline, you might be turned off by this game because it doesn't fit with other Resident Evil games. So when you play this one for the first time, you get more of an action FPS experience. When you pick up, for example, Resident Evil Revelation 6, you got more of the survival horror element to it. So that, in my opinion, is a disadvantage to make games masquerade as other games. The second type of game that I don't like is a game that makes you do menial tasks to progress through the game. Now, I love the Kingdom Hearts series, so I might get a lot of shots for this one. But that very beginning part in Kingdom Hearts where you have to go through all the stuff in the city, like knock the trash up the hill, you have to deliver the mail, and all those little tasks to earn money to get on the train to get to the next part of the game. I felt like that section of the game took too long. It was too menial. Other than that, once you get past that part, the game is great, but that really gets on my nerves, and there's other games that do that as well. Some games that I found that did menial tasks a lot better is, for example, GTA 5. When you could play golf or shoot out the real estate agent signs or do all the jumps or go under the bridges in the game, it felt like those menial tasks were more rewarding. Also, it doesn't force you to do these tasks to actually progress through the game. So I really think GTA 5 did a good job of the quote-unquote side tasks and those menial tasks. Another good game that did this well was Dragon Age Inquisition. You could kill dragons, you could fulfill requisition orders when you go to the Inquisition chest. So you literally could go to the chest, fill out orders, gather materials, and send those in, and then you will get experience points for doing those tasks. So these two games do menial tasks well, but to give you an example, I love this game. That initial part where you have to get the money to get on the train for Kingdom Hearts 2, it's a no-go for me. So this is the second type of game that really irks my nerves. And now I'd like to share a fun fact. The first game to ever introduce DLC or downloadable content was a game called Total Annihilation for the PC, which came out in 1997. You could download new maps, new units, and so much more. But that is the fun fact for today. The third type of game that I absolutely hate, and it's the one that's on the top of my list, are games that require you to download DLC to really progress through the game. Okay, so there's this game out there that y'all might be familiar with, which is Shadow Fight. Okay, they have I think a version 1, 2, and 3, and it's a really fun game. You basically play as a silhouette of a fighter. You can upgrade and level up, and it's a fun game. The problem you run into is it gets to a certain point where you plateau, and the only way to really advance to the game further and power up is if you make purchases, in-game purchases. So that to me is kind of a drawback on certain games like that. I'll give you another example that does it better. Homescapes is a great addictive fun game, but they do have in-game purchases, but you do not have to or are not forced to download those in-game purchases and gifts to actually progress through the game. So I think that's done a lot better. Alright guys, so these are the three types of games that absolutely irk my nerves. So in the comments section, let me know what are your pet peeves or what grinds your gears when it comes to certain types of games and certain types of game mechanics in the game. Also, if you like this t-shirt, this is one of my CLO t-shirts. You can go to clolearnshop.com and the link in the description and pick up your shirt. Also, if you like gaming stuff and collectibles, go ahead down to my Mercari page and pick something up. Alright guys, I really appreciate you tuning in and watching this video. Also stay tuned for more gaming content, and if you're new here, like, share, comment, subscribe, and also check out some of my other videos, especially my food franchises documentary right here. Alright guys, take care. I'm gonna get out here and start gaming. Peace.